Graham Simpson, followed by Fulton McGregor.
Thank you, Deputy Presiding Officer. Can I also thank James Dornan for securing this debate, saving the Hampden Roar. James Dornan debates always force me to talk about football, so here we go again. The SFA does have a decision to make about where the National Stadium will be after 2020, and as a keen football fan and supporter of the newly crowned SPFL champions, I also have fond memories of Hampden and its Roar. But I'm talking about the Hampden that gave birth to the wall of noise before it was tamed by the refurbishment of the stadium back in the 1990s. As I was sitting down to write this speech, I took time to reflect on some of my own memorable moments of high drama in Mount Florida over the years. My first visit was as an 11-year-old when I was taken to the 1975 Cup final between Celtic and Airdrieonians in Billy McNeill's last game, and there's the programme. Not only was there a sense of history, but the atmosphere to me, anyway, as a boy, was incredible. 10 years after that, I was present at the Scotland-England match, which Scotland won 1-0. There's another programme. Now, I haven't, in general, got a great memory for goals or goal scorers, but I remember well Richard Gough soaring majestically to head past a static Peter Shilton, and Hampden did indeed roar. I watched highlights of that game at the weekend, and the noise, even through my computer, was incredible. We were in the stand for that one. My dad wasn't one for terracing, but once I'd moved to Glasgow as an adult, I would usually opt for the standing option, even if it meant getting soaked sometimes. And walking down Aikenhead Road on match day back then, you felt the hairs on the back of your neck stand up with the noise rolling down off the old terracing in anticipation of the duel ahead. Sadly, times have changed, and not, in my view, for the better. The new stadium is soulless, fans are miles away from the action, the wall of noise is gone. If you're at the back, you'd be better off watching at home, watching it on the telly. Sure, it's had its moments. Brian Whittle mentioned the Zinedine Zidane goal, and of course there were Lee Griffiths' two stunning free kicks against England last summer. And of course there was the moment, Deputy Presiding Officer, when I took to the pitch in a five-a-side competition, sharing it with one of my heroes, Danny McGrain. Now, that was one of the finest moments. I don't, though, get excited very often about going to games at Hampden. The SFA does have a tough decision to make, and it looks as though it's down to two choices, Hampden or Murrayfield. Yes?
Joanne Lamont.
It's clearly being so cheery keeps you going, but can I ask you, does the fact that massive amounts of public money has already gone into Hampden, does that not weigh heavily with you in terms of making a decision to move?
I remind members to speak through the chair, please. Graham Simpson.
So I hadn't been to Murrayfield until Celtic played a couple of European games there, and I was super impressed. And I do remember coming out of the stadium and thinking, this should be the national stadium. I realise I'm out of step with everyone else in this debate. Yeah. And today, the SRU made a pitch for football to move to Murrayfield. And if you can put any anti-rugby bias aside, then surely having a national stadium in the capital does make some sense. It's probably best that I sit down at this point, Deputy Presiding Officer. I hope the SFA get this right. The Hampden Roar is a bit of a distant memory, unfortunately. We'll see what happens.
You're a brave man, Mr Simpson. Call Fulton